who wins 7 championships in our career if I stay healthy in the next 8 to 10 years. Now we're looking at a goal of 7 championships, and then from there we'll just have to go race by race, year by year. But yeah, I think I could, probably tie that mark.
In 1979, when Richard Petty produced a dramatic come-from-behind rally to win his 7th NASCAR Winston Cup championship, the number stood as a milestone that no one thought could be equaled or surpassed. It had taken the King 20 years to accomplish that feat, and his nearest active rivals, David Pearson and Cale Yarborough, had 3 titles each and were in the twilight of their career. So there was no foreseen threat to his throne. Little did historians know that when the crown went to Dale Earnhardt in 1980, they would be given a glimpse of what was to come. Now, 6 championships later, Earnhardt is writing his own chapter in NASCAR history. It's a story filled with driving brilliance and a little controversy. The story of a young man from the dirt tracks of North Carolina who emerged as the Intimidator, and now as a mature role model for up-and-coming drivers. Stay with us for this evolution of Dale Earnhardt as we present an inside look at a legend.
He was born to be a champion. He was born to win races. He was born to be the greatest race car driver ever lived.
To me, it's just a dream to be out there racing against him right now.
He must be like Stonewall Jackson was when he got ready to charge. He's unbelievable.
He's like the gunslinger walking through the garage area. You just know who he is. Anything he does, hunting, fishing, or whatever, he wants to kill the most deer. He wants to catch the most fish. He wants to outrun everybody on the racetrack. He even wants to outrun the pace car.
Whether they're for him or against him, they all watch it. He's been good for the sport.
He is a cunning son of a gun. To run second in the championship would destroy the team, would destroy him.
Guys are worried about track conditions. We just hope the engraver spells our names right. The GSXR 750W and new lighter 1100W.
You got the winning color! I noticed my father using Pennzoil when he used to change his oil in a car. It's a good product. It's a well-known product, and I've been using it for about, I'd say, 16, 17 years.
Now with the revolutionary Pennstar molecule, Pennzoil clings to moving parts, works like liquid ball bearings.
Pennzoil says it works like liquid ball bearings, and if they say it, I'll believe it.
You don't know when or where, but if your battery is more than 3 years old, it could fail at any time. Before you're stranded, get the next generation of Die Hard. Here's proof exclusive new technology creates the longest-lasting, most powerful Die Hard ever. How many stocks does your battery have left? Use one to go to Sears for the next generation of Die Hard batteries. Don't trust your family to anything less.
Sure, you've got a car. Got a dog. Even got some fun-loving friends. But have you got what it takes to be a mountain man? All it really takes are the 2 cool beers of the mountain man. Smooth Busch beer and easy-drinking Busch Light. So, be a mountain man. All you gotta do is head for the mountains.
The biggest influence on Dale Earnhardt's career came from one man, his father, Ralph Dale Earnhardt, one of the winningest late model sportsman drivers in NASCAR history. Ralph would die of a heart attack at age 45 in 1973, leaving his driving legacy to his son, Dale.
I admired my dad, and I still hold a lot what he taught me at heart, and I go back to it a lot. But I never really tried to pattern myself driving or never really thought about, well, I'm going to do this like Ralph Earnhardt does it or Richard Petty. I'm Dale Earnhardt. I've been pretty much, Ralph Earnhardt wouldn't have done a lot of things I've done in my early years in racing. He would have got on Bud if he'd have been around.
Winning came to Dale naturally as he took numerous checkered flags through his early years. It was in those formative years that he began to find the formula for success.
I had a dream of just getting over the steering wheel, not being what we are today or going as far as we have. Is just, I want to drive a race car. Just give me a car, any car. And the first car I ever drove was a pink Ford, and it was my brother-in-law, David Oliver's, and his dad owned it, Ray, and David was driving for somebody else, and they were sitting idle, so Ray and I went racing, and it was a pink K2, number K2. It was really funny that Earnhardt would start out in a pink race car and end up 7-time champion.
As early as 1975, he tried his hand at a few select Winston Cup races and even battled the king in his number 8 car at Charlotte. It was at that time that a fellow driver began to hear of the youngster's talent.
I remember the first time I heard of him, my brother was a chief steward at Caraway Speedway, and he said, Larry, my brother, he said, there's a young driver down here at Caraway. He said, you ought to keep your eye on. He said, if you ever quit racing, you need to have him drive your race car. He said, him and Butch Lindley come across the line down here, and he was up on the wall, and said, he's just a hard racer. So that was the first time I heard Dale Earnhardt's name.
By 1979, stock car racing fans and competitors knew his name as he climbed into Rod Osterland's number 2 Chevrolet. By his 16th career start, he'd go to victory lane at Bristol in April at the Southeastern 500. 8 races later, he'd gain his first pole, and by the end of that season would win Rookie of the Year honors. 1980, his second year with Osterland, would bring only more success with 5 victories. The sophomore driver would hold off a late-season charge by Cale Yarborough, finishing 5th in the season finale at Ontario to win his first Winston Cup title by 19 points, becoming the first driver to win Rookie of the Year and the Winston Cup in successive years. At the time, Earnhardt didn't realize the magnitude of his accomplishment.
Young and dumb. I was just wide open as I could go. And was with the young team. We was in Ontario there, and it was a race between Kel and I for the championship. And we're racing out there, and we make mistakes in the pits, and I get a lap down, I get my lap back. We made so many mistakes that day. It was unbelievable. And we still won the championship, and didn't realize what we had done. I didn't realize I'd won the Winston Cup champion and what that meant and what that was really about.
Despite the championship season in 1980 and all his success, things were about to change for Earnhardt as he saw a glimpse at his future.
I never really thought of him as being the driver of my car. We were, I was in the owner-operator type business back when I was racing. I decided if the right opportunity come along, I would get out of the car and put another driver in. So it happened in '81. Osterland had been bought out by Jim Stacy. So Dale and Wes came to me and said, what do you think about you getting out of the car and letting Dale run the last 10 races? And I said, well, I hadn't planned on doing it in the middle of the year or something, but I said, let me think about it. So I thought about it, and I went and talked to Junior Johnson, who I really respect, and at that time he was giving me a lot of guidance and helping me along, and he advised me it was the best thing I could do, and it was kind of a temporary thing, and we had a little small shop, about a 60 by 100 shop. I just pieced everything together to run. Dale was a reigning champion from 1980, and I really wasn't comfortable saying, Dale, this is the way I would do it, or this is, here I was a rookie that hadn't won a race, not a rookie, but a independent that hadn't won a race, and here I'm telling the guy things I see who was a champion, and I just wasn't comfortable. I knew I didn't have the financial backing or the finances to put Dale in a car of his capability. I felt I would hold him back, and after the Darlington race, which was about 5 races in that 10-race deal, he and I rode back to the motel that evening, talked about it, and he told me his 3 options, and they were Bud Moore, Jim Stacy with the 2018, which was Harry Ranier, and Stacy was going to sponsor it, or stay with me. And I told him, I said, as a driver, in which I felt then I still was a driver, I said, looking at it the way I would look at it, I would go to Bud Moore. And I said, I'm just not financially able to put you in a car and equipment. I said, someday we may get back together.
Earnhardt drove for more through the 1982 and 83 seasons, tallying 3 victories along the way, but never attaining the chemistry he had during his championship. Meanwhile, Childress Racing continued their learning curve with driver Ricky Rudd until 1984, when Childress and Earnhardt would reunite. And amazingly, by 1986, the Richard Childress Racing team, led by Dale Earnhardt, would win 5 races en route to their first championship.
I always structured my team around the points because that's how I would survive through the winter, is I would make the money to get the point money at the end of the year, and that's how I would get geared up for the following year as an independent. So I had to run my racing team points-wise and finish races and operate to be there at the end of the day. And I think that's contributed to the style that we put this team around as well.
Yeah, I knew we were going to win races because I knew what he was and what he could do. And I knew the pressure was on us to have the equipment there for him, you know, to be able to do it. And of course, the first time he came, we didn't have it, and he left and went to Bud Morrison, came back, and we steadily built up. But after we won the championship in 1986, our first one, and Dale's second, I thought, we can, with his talent, and if we can, you know, keep coming up with the sponsorship, which I know Richard can do, I really felt like that we could, win 5, 6, maybe 7 championships.
About the time we realized what was going on, we were already doing pretty well, you know. You stay so concentrated on what's going on, and you win a race, and it's, well, we got to win some more, and we just keep going. We never really felt that we reached any kind of a level or anything. We were always, well, I always thought we were just the tip of the iceberg, what could have happened.
I gained a lot of confidence, I think, with 86, is to saying, hey, I can win a championship. That first one wasn't a fluke, and, and all this. And the confidence level really went up there. I felt like I've arrived. I'm in Winston Cup racing. Tomorrow, if something happened that I had to change rides or look for something else, I could probably get another ride.
Earnhardt and Childress dominated the 1987 season, earning 11 victories, allowing Dale to clinch his 3rd title by Rockingham in October, the earliest that feat had been accomplished since Cale Yarborough did it in 1977.
We got serious. The team itself, I think the team, Richard and Kirk and all the guys that put their part in that through all our guys that's worked there through the years, LaRosso, Eddie Lanier, everybody that's been there, engine department or whatever, has just been a tremendous part.
At A.W. Golden Pontiac Cadillac, we've made a major change in the way we do business.
We've created Golden Value Pricing.
Golden Value Pricing eliminates the hassle, haggle, and pressure tactics many car dealers use.
Golden Value Pricing means every Pontiac in stock carries our lowest non-negotiable price.
You'll find a Golden Value price clearly displayed on every exciting Pontiac at A.W. Golden.
Everybody gets the same price.
Our lowest price, the first time.
No exception.
Pontiac excitement, Golden Value Pricing.
At A.W. Golden Pontiac Cadillac.
For under $9,500, can any other family-size sedan beat the 95 Hyundai Elantra's list of standard equipment? Airbag protection, crumple zones, power steering, fuel injection, radial tires, 5-mile-per-hour bumpers. Hey, even at $13 grand, no one can touch it. But now, after rebate, you get a 95 Elantra for under $9,500. That's pulling away from the pack. But this deal's pulling away, too. So get to your Hyundai dealer today. Now, pay just $94.49 for a value pack 95 Elantra at your Hyundai dealer today.
Great action, shot, full highlights. He just could go all the way.
NFL Primetime, Sunday at 7 on ESPN.
The late 80s would see more victories for Earnhardt, 8 total, but he didn't repeat the dominance of 1987. some tough moments as he faced challenges from champions Bill Elliott and Rusty Wallace. But through those 2 years, the Richard Childress team would stay together and get set to build another stellar season.
88 was a little bit of a tough year with the tire deal. 89 was a good year for us, and every year you can look and blame something or pick out the problem or whatever, but something Childress and I have tried to do through our career is not blame anything but yourself. Hey, we lost. Let's work harder and let's try to focus on our weak points and make them stronger and go back and win.
As 1990 approached, one milestone still eluded Dale: victory in the Daytona 500. It was a focused Earnhardt who dominated the event there that year as he narrowed in on his goal. It seemed the day would be his as he approached the final lap, until a quarter of the way from the checkered flag, the unthinkable happened. He blew a tire.
You wanted to be mad, you wanted to tear the steering wheel off of it, you wanted to say some words you shouldn't say, but I just sort of collected myself and thought about it a little bit and got out and made a statement. So, you know,
blowing the tires coming off the turn last lap at Daytona, that probably was one of the worst moments. You know, when I walked back from after losing that race from the pits to the garage area, if I could have crawled under the asphalt and walked out, I felt better. You know.
Right before that point in the race, we had like a 40-second lead on the field, which is unheard of at Daytona. That was going to be one of my best days, and it ended up being one of my worst.
I lost it because of gas problems there one time, and I've been so close, got past for Jarrett. I mean, I've been so close several times, but still, it's a race I want to win.
Earnhardt would regroup and go on to win 9 races in 1990. He would battle Mark Martin down to the wire en route to another championship. He'd finished 26 points ahead of the upstart Martin when it was over. His 3rd championship in 5 years, moving Dale on a steady pace toward King Richard's mark. Dale Earnhardt finishes 3rd and wins the Winston Cup. He becomes only the 2nd driver to win the championship more than 3 times.
In 90, when Mark and I raced so hard for it, I mean, that was a real charge. That was a good race. It was he and I, you know, qualifying close together, would finish close together, would racing each other for the win a lot of times that year, and it was a good battle.
Having already won back-to-back titles in 86 and 87, it seemed obvious that Earnhardt would be the favorite to repeat in 1991. His on-track moves continued to thrill the spectators as he kept his momentum going. Ending up in victory lane 4 times, but being consistent enough to finish in the top 10 16 times. It would take only to start the 91 finale in Atlanta to earn his 5th title. His nearest challenger, Ricky Rudd, would finish 195 points off the pace.
91 was just a peculiar year. It just didn't seem racy enough or something to win a championship, you know. As to the compared to 86 and 7 and the 89 championship we lost and the 90 we won, 91 was an odd year. We didn't accomplish a whole lot that year, I didn't think, when we won the championship, but nobody else really did either, you know.
1992 would be an off year for the Richard Childress team. They failed to finish in the top 10 in Winston Cup points for the first time in their partnership.
92, we had more DNFs than we ever had. Halfway through the year, we were less than 100 points out of the lead. And we were having a dismal year as far as our standards. And, but yet we were, you know, we weren't that far behind. The second half of the year, we had some more DNFs. I think we were just a little off on some things, car-wise, motor-wise, that we probably shouldn't have been. And like I said, we just won 2 in a row again, 90 and 91, and I guess we just had a big letdown in a way.
They wouldn't be set back long as the Childress team and Dale got right back on track in 93, winning by Darlington. Earnhardt would win 6 times, but 93 would be emotionally different for all competitors. Earnhardt was no exception, as the deaths of 92 champ Alan Kulwicki and Davey Allison affected everyone. It was a grief-ridden Earnhardt who won at Pocono in July.
I was proud to be the winner of Pocono and being able to honor Davey and the team. I think the fans know there's that side to all racers, to all. If you hadn't got a heart, I mean, I don't think you could do what you do. I don't think I could do what I did.
Earnhardt cruised despite a gallant effort by Rusty Wallace, and on lap 155 in Atlanta, clinched his title. Earnhardt has won the 1993 NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. He wins it at 42 years of age. Richard Petty continued to compete for 17 years after winning his 6th title. Imagine how many championships Dale could achieve if he continues to race until the year 2010.
Anytime you win a championship is special, but to honor those guys at the banquet, I think was great. A tribute everybody paid to them. And, but, you know, I've said it, I'd give up everything I've got today for my dad back. And Shirley would do it for them, too. It's just, you know, you see people and you race with them, you know, it's just tough to lose them like that.
He was not about to let down in 1994 as he won 4 times. Despite having some problems, such as spinning twice at Martinsville, he continually pulled off top 5 finishes. Rusty Wallace would again be his closest challenger after Ernie Irvin's crash at Michigan, but would suffer engine problems at Rockingham, handing the championship to Earnhardt, his 7th, enabling him to accomplish his goal of tying Richard Petty.
Ernie and I was having a great time racing, and then that happened, and it took a damper, it put a damper on the championship because there was the competition side of it was pretty much gone. It became a numbers thing that I had to run hard and consistent, could win some races or whatever, but I could still win that championship. Just being there every race and not having to pressure the car that bad, and Rusty had to play catch up to catch that much.
We'll be right back with more on Dale Earnhardt.
Observe dry eyes, red eyes, symptoms for which science created clear eyes. Unlike the other leading eye drop, Clear Eyes removes redness and has an ingredient to moisturize. The difference is clear. Clear Eyes.
Goodyear announces 25% off some of our most popular passenger, performance, and light truck radials. 25% off. But you gotta hurry. The sale ends December 3rd at participating Goodyear retailers.
Over the years, some pretty hungry folks have stopped by my place.
The Mega Meal from KFC is back.
I like Mega Meal.
Your choice of chicken, a ton of side dishes, even a whole pie, all just $14.99. And this week, get a Tweety mug.
Oh, he's flying out the door.
Just $1.99 with every Mega Meal. Collect all 4. The Mega Meal from KFC. Enough food to feed your whole family. Or one Tasmanian devil.
The tournaments of November, the first test of the untested, where the pretenders are separated from the contenders. The rare find air and the rest fall to earth. The games begin with the preseason NIT, then the Maui Invitational and the Great Alaska Shootout. From the starter tip-off classic to the DirecTV Grade 8, ESPN has the stuff you want. The NIT tomorrow at 7:30. Syracuse hosts George Washington, and at midnight, New Mexico State meets USC.
Hard driving and a never-say-never attitude have led to some amazing moves on the racetrack, which through the years has led to the evolution of the Intimidator.
Fans, the press, the souvenir folks, all these folks have sort of labeled you, you know, you drive a black car and you're aggressive, and that maybe some are intimidating, maybe some aren't. Maybe we can outrun some of them with equipment. Maybe I can outdrive some of them. Maybe the engine outruns some of them. anything you can have or do to be competitive more than the other guy and beat them is a part of your plan to beat them or your system to beat them. And if you intimidate them and then they call you an intimidator, well, so be it.
I guess the reason he is an intimidator is because these people know that if he's trying to pass you, he's never going to give up, and if there's any way he can get around you, he's going to get around you. He just never gives up.
Even though I've been real controversial through my career, I've still taken the heat when I felt like it was mine. You know, it's like the crash that happened with Darrell Waltrip and I up at Richmond and tore both the cars up and everything. Everybody, you know, I was out for wrecking what everybody said, but I crossed him on the back stretch, hooked him, turned him into the wall unintentionally, and I apologized big time. I got fined and everything else, but I took the heat. I mean, it was my fault.
And when he's in front, watch out, as the 1987 Winston sealed the legend when he went head-to-head with Bill Elliott and didn't lose his ground. It was controversial, but a moment no one will ever forget.
I can still hear the crowd, you know, when he did that. And I'll never forget that.
The 87 D Winston. That was the most fun. We were beat. Bill Elliott had us beat. And Dale somehow pulled that thing off. And it was absolute hilarity to be standing there watching it and win, you know. And like I say, I guess that'll always be my favorite thing because it was just so exciting the way it happened.
The point of the whole situation, he did it to himself. I never did it to him. And when he got to the tri-oval there, he was going to cut me off regardless of what, and he put himself in the trap.
But through the years, there have been lessons, and now it's still a tough Earnhardt on the track, but maybe not so intimidating.
He's mellowed out a ton, you know, that redneck tear everybody's car up, you know, hitching a quarter panel and run like hell attitude ain't there no more, you know.
He used to kind of really beat on you to try to intimidate you, but now he's off of that a little bit, you know, from the standpoint of, you know, he'll still intimidate you when he can, but, you know, he and I went at it for a long time there, kind of back and forth, and I was the one that I didn't like it because I had to work on my own stuff, and finally we got our differences resolved and went on, but yeah, he's kind of mellowed out a little bit throughout the years.
People respect him, and maybe in some cases see him and say, well, he's going to go anyway, I might as well get out of his way. And so he gets by with some things that somebody like me or some other guys probably wouldn't because of the cooperation that he gets from the other drivers.
One thing hasn't changed. His ability to get through what for some could be disastrous moments in a race and still have a good run. Is it luck? Maybe not.
Well, he's a smart driver, you know. I mean, let me give you some examples. They call him lucky all you want, but you spin out twice at Martinsville, and he misses all the wrecks, okay? And he gets in the wall twice at Wilkesboro, and everybody else crashes around him, and he gets through and gets the fourth out of it, okay? Then he starts at Charlotte and goes to a big wreck, and everybody wipes out. I mean, you just don't do that just because you're lucky, okay? And I'm up in front running the race or something, and I think, well, maybe that got him this time, you know? And here comes that son of a gun again. That sucker could go over the wall and out the pit gate, and I know he'd be back in.
This goes back to Ralph Earnhardt. I had to use my resources. I've seen the side of Ralph Earnhardt that I didn't understand at that point, but Daddy raced for a living, and he did it out of his pocket. And then I was there. I was racing out of my pocket. I had to utilize my equipment to my potential. I had to avoid things. I had to learn how to protect it. And I think that brought me to where I am. I just I look ahead, I anticipate, I try to, you know, sometimes I see a wreck happening several laps before it does.
Dale Earnhardt, an inside look at a legend, will continue.
My business is brakes. I've been repairing them for 24 years, and I take a lot of pride in my work. Ever since I opened, I've used the best, Raybestos. It's because I care about my customer safety. Recently, though, I'm seeing some inferior brake parts coming on the market, and that annoys me, because brakes are so critical to your safety. When I open a Raybestos box, I know what I'll find. the best made.
Ray Bestis, the best in brakes. For the professional installer near you, call 1-800-4-RAY BESTIS.
There's one thing that a racing engine and a street engine have in common. You want them both to last.
Haviland Formula 3 from Texaco.
To build a race engine that holds up, you have to use the best of everything, and Haviland does that job.
No other leading motor oil offers more complete protection to help your car run better, last longer. Good enough for Robert Yates. Haviland Formula 3. Why add just any motor oil? Add more life to your car.
Tomorrow night at 9:30 Eastern, knockout artists Jeremy Williams and Levi Billups go toe-to-toe. Top Rank Boxing on ESPN.
I think Dale's a good race car driver, but he sits in an awful good race car every week. You can't deny that Dale Earnhardt's not a good race car driver, but you also got to look at the depth of that race team.
The driver, he wins the race. Teams win championships, not the driver, the team, the whole package. That's how you win championships. And they've hung together long enough that they pretty well got it figured out right now.
The team, Richard Childress Racing, has seen an evolution of its own with Earnhardt's success, but they've stuck together with little change in personnel.
The key to this team is Richard Childress. The first day I come to work here, Kirk asked me to build a set of exhaust pipes, and I was up underneath the car looking at, the way to go on the pipes and stuff. And all of a sudden I hear this voice next to me, and it's Richard, under the car with me, talking about routing the exhaust pipes this particular way, and I've never had an owner like that.
Richard Childress and Dale Earnhardt also have been the kind of people that made you welcome, and they let you know that they wanted you to stay with them.
Richard has been up front with me, and he's done what he said he would. And he's pretty easy to work for as far as on my part. I like him. And then having Dale Earnhardt here, like I say, I think, again, I'm biased because I'm part of this team, but I still think he's the best. And I know he's the best. And just the fact that you're going to be with something that you know is going to win.
Any team is built around the driver. You can see that in any of these teams, but and this team has taken on the personality of Earnhardt over the years. And he's so, like I say, his determination and bleeds over to the rest of the guys.
I don't believe that we could have been, RCR would have been as successful without Dale Earnhardt, and Dale Earnhardt might have been a little more successful without us. If you were going to give an equation, because he has a raw talent, and hopefully we could, but there's just not a lot of people that you could put in a car and go out there and have a chance to win the amount of championships that we won. And I think we could have won more races through the history of our team if we would have been approaching things a little different. And I don't mean we get a lot of criticism, well, you're stroking or you're taking it easy. Somebody says, well, if you win 10 races, you should win the championship. The way I look at it is kind of like a golf game. If you hit 4 or 5 hole-in-ones and you knock the rest of them in the lake, you sure don't win the ball game, the golf game. So we're out to win the game. And that's an equation that RCR Enterprises structures ourselves around.
Everything works together. Childress and I look at this race car the same way. How can we make it better? How can we make it go faster? How can we, run stronger, longer? For sure it's the team. And every part of this around that team is part of the team. The sponsors, the fans. It's broad. It's bigger than the both of us. It's bigger than anything you can imagine.
The expectations to be the best still come from the pride and respect the team has for their driver, Dale Earnhardt.
We've got Michael Gore in the rest room, a bunch of Charles Barkley's. He's the best ever driver out there. A lot of times you see him come off a 4 and he's got the car pitched sideways, and we'll just look at each other, and he straightens his own, and off he goes. He sure can drive a car.
Everybody says he's the best, and naturally he's got to live up to it. With this race team, with winning all the races and championships and everything, then you're expected to win that race when you go to the racetrack.
The expectations of the people that follow Earnhardt and stuff is they plan on him winning every week or being right there or leading the most laps. If something's not going right or the car's not running right, a lot of times we'll beat up on ourselves. You know, we'll all get together and say, you know, well, what's wrong? You know, or why is this happening? Or why is that happening? And we don't just go back to the truck and eat lunch or do whatever. We'll keep on working. Sometimes we keep going backwards, and sometimes it doesn't get better. But a lot of times we'll get pretty close and figure out what the problem is.
The attitude is, you know, that he wants to win so much, then you feel like if you're not giving 110%, then you're letting him down, because he's always going to do that extra little bit.
He makes our job a lot easier in a lot of instances. I mean, you know, if the car's not right or the engine's not up to speed, a lot of times he'll get 100% out of it.
Every man on the team has got just a bigger part to do with it as Dale does. You know, the guy that cleans the windshield, the guy that holds the stop sign, the guys that shop that don't never come to the race. Every man has got just as big a part to do with it as the driver. And Earnhardt appreciates the team attitude.
Confidence in each other, and I think that's what makes our team. That's the thing about Richard and Dale Earnhardt, that team can look up to them guys, and their confidence is in them, their confidence is in our team, my confidence in Andy, Eddie, David Smith, Chocolate, you know, all of them down there. Everybody's helping me get here. And that's what makes us go out in there and drive that car harder, or if we're behind, is catch up, or whatever. I mean, we've had some good races in our time when we've come from behind and won, and we've had when we've lapped the field and won, and we've wrecked and won. I mean, we've been through a lot.
Some people take the new YZF 600R sport bike from Yamaha real serious. But of course, it's not whether you win or lose.
Oh, yeah?
YZF 600R. It's one serious ride.
Come on, guys! You're such an inspiration. So hip, so hot, so happening too. You and Hay. That's a winning combination. Just wait till we get our hands on you. I can't wait, can't wait. Just wait till we get our hands on you. Hey.
Now, an oil made just for your hard-working engine. 4x4 from Quaker State. Off-roading, extreme temperatures, towing and hauling. They all make your light truck or 4x4 work extra hard and could shorten its life. Why settle for a conventional car oil? Get 4x4 from Quaker State. The intelligent oil for hard-working engines. Now, get up to a $1.89 mail-in rebate on a 6-pack case of 4x4. So you buy 5 quarts and get 1 free.
I love my new hot rod. Those flames scare the other guys. 5,000 horsepower helps too. And a fat bankroll. You know, we've been running Autolite spark plugs forever, but I can wring more money out of someone else. Money's good. My crew burns it. So I tell the guys we're going to run a different plug. They say no. I say I'm the boss. They say Autolite keeps this monster lit. So I tell them I was just kidding.
He's still aggressive. The deal is he's learned to control it, and he's learned to be able to be aggressive and be a better driver to make it work. And, you know, right now, Earnhardt's the best driver that he's ever been.
Once he gets to the racetrack, he doesn't think about anything but that race car. And once he gets on the racetrack, he doesn't think about anything but getting to the front. You know, if he's running 15th, he's still concentrating on getting to the front. He's not worried about that 14th place guy or that 13th place guy or that 12th place guy. He's worried about that guy that's running first and second.
I never seen anybody any better than him in the draft, you know? Never seen anybody better than him with a car that ain't handling on wore tires. You know, if the car's pushing or loose, he'll go up against the wall or down on the bottom, you know what I mean? Just anywhere he's got to go, he'll do all kinds of things to get the fastest lap out of that race car.
He's part of the race car. I think it's probably the biggest equation of success, if that's what you want to call it, for Dale Earnhardt. He feels and sees things lots of times that I think the average person doesn't. he has an uncanny ability to, like on restrictor races, I say he sees the air.
There are so many dimensions to Dale Earnhardt, which have all contributed to his success. Each ingredient has gone into each championship through his career, and now that number is 7, a number many thought would not be reached again, a dream accomplishment.
I'm real proud of it. I'm tickled to death, and I don't think it's really sunk in yet because, and people ask us about, you know, trying to tie Richard Petty. It's never been an issue, and if we try to break the record, I don't think it'll be an issue because, to me, that's what's kept us together this long, and the success we've had is he doesn't go about it that way. That's just the next championship in line is the 7th one, or the 8th one, or the 9th one, whatever it might be.
Well, it's definitely an honor to be a part of a championship team. You know, a lot of people work their whole life and never, ever get to be a part of one. You know, I've been here 2 years, and we've been champions 2 years. You know, so that's really a great accomplishment.
We've been very fortunate to be where we're at today. It's way surpassed any dreams anyone could ever have, and just to be mentioned with that many championship wins behind you, it's a great feeling and a great accomplishment. I feel great for all the people that's been involved in it. So many people have put their life into this thing.
Still hard to put me in the position that Richard Petty is, I reckon, because I've looked, you know, you got your heroes through racing and the people you look up to and the people that are winning the races and the championships, and you start off with your dad, and you grow into that, and you watch him, and he's everything you ever thought he was, and then on into people that you drive for, and then you're standing on the back of the truck watching Fireball Roberts and Ned Jarrett and these guys race, and then it's on into Patty's always there, Allison's and Pearson. All these memories of people that you see and you learn from, it's hard to put yourself in that, you know, with them, or as maybe, I'm no way of Richard Petty's equal, but I've won 7 championships, so I'm sort of equal in some sense, you know, as a 7-time champion, but still hard to see you in that clash, you know.
We was at the banquet last year, and, you know, Earnhardt had won, and I went up there and told him, I said, I hope you win 8 or 10 championships. I could care less, basically because, again, I did my thing in my time, and he's doing his thing in his time.
Dale's metamorphosis from championship number 1 in 1980 to 1994 has been amazing as he has matured as each championship year has passed.
Some of the rough edges are gone. When he first came into our shop, when he came from Osterland, he came in there, you know, joking around with everybody, you know, and he'd already won the championship, you know, and so I don't think he really understands what he did. He was a champion, he knew that. I think he's more open to people now that, you know, he was even more closed to people back then. As everybody grows and matures, we look at, you know, then he was maybe a little more hyped up on Dale Earnhardt. You know, I'm the new champion, you know, whatever. I just won the championship. But now he realized, you know, that, yeah, it's the team that I'm with, and it's a lot of people involved to make a Dale Earnhardt win races. And I think he really understands that.
He seems to appreciate everything he has so much, and he seems to take the time to listen to people. I think he's matured. I think everything that's happened over the past few years, everything that all of us have been through, but Dale's been probably closer to than most of us, have given him a different outlook on life, and I think he's maybe just kind of taking it a little easier, and not on the racetrack, but I mean inside of himself, he's just kind of smiling to himself a little more and chilling out.
I think I'm a better person all around, and that comes from everything you've experienced, to losing true friends, to seeing things happen in the sport, seeing the sport change, see it grow, see the adversity the fans, the sport has come through. I've learned so much. I've been so fortunate. Family, Teresa and Kerry and Kelly and Dale Jr. and Taylor and my mom and all the family, I mean, everybody's been a big part of it. I'm the richest person in the world with fans and friends. I'm really, really rich.
Perhaps the event that has changed Dale the most was the passing of his best friend, Neil Bonnet, in February of 1994. A loss he continues to feel each day.
The toughest thing is I've been in Talladega 3 times since then, and I've yet been able to go back out to his house. And Susan must think I'm terrible because I don't call her as often as I should. I think about her all the time. I think about Neil about every day. I reckon I should talk to her more. I'd probably feel better. But I wanted to go over and see her so bad at Talladega, but I hated to go. I don't want to go over to his house. I go around my own lake behind my house, and I see Neil Bonnet. I can't fish in my own pond. But it's memories, and I've got great memories of Neil. He was a special person. People don't realize the friendship that he and I had, and the kind of person that Neil Bonnet really was, is he helped me as much as I was helping him. Neil Bonnet made me a better person.
Hi, I'm from the gas company. Would you like a refrigerator magnet? Shoot. Natural gas heat is really efficient and more comfortable than electric. And gas water heating uses half of the energy of electric, so it's better for the environment.
Panima, Kentalua, Gamluda, Bruce Springsteen, City.
Ugu, Yug Yug, Kimin.
I'm Gary Manderbach. And I'm Cricket Manderbach. We're the Ford dealer in Temple. Counting our grandfather George and our father George and ourselves, we have over 100 years experience and lots of satisfied customers.
This makes it easy for you to deal with us.
Check out the Ford Escort, America's #1 selling small car. Equipped with standard dual airbags, the Escort is an unbeatable value.
We have it all. Service, satisfaction, selection, and you'll like our prices, too.
Sports news is finally available. Bob knows.
Morning, Bob. Your email is right on. The hoop season is red hot.
With ESPN Net on Prodigy, Bob talks to the Sports Center pros every day.
Hey, Bob, for answers to your NFL questions, check out the inside info on coaching changes.
What you want, when you want. Call 1-800-ESPN-PRO. Get ESPN Net on Prodigy.
Hey, how about some Super Bowl tickets?
From his early victories on the dirt tracks and bull rings to his championship in 1980 and his 7th in 1994, Dale Earnhardt continues to rewrite history, securing his place in the annals of racing legend for generations to come.
I think he'd go down in history as being, one of the toughest that's ever been in any history. I don't think, I've got a lot of respect for Dale. He's tough. He's tough.
When I sit around and talk about the great drivers that I've raced against, his name will come up. I don't know that it's going to be in the same kindness that I pay to other drivers, but his name will come up.
There's always good drivers, and there's always great drivers. But out of each segment or each 10 or 15 years, there's always one driver that kind of pops out at them. And you look at Curtis, and you look at Fireball, you look at guys like that or Junior, then you look at Daddy, and you look at guys like yourself and Cale and those guys. And then you come here and you got Earnhardt, and you got Darrell, and you got Mark and Rusty and those guys. So I think his name will be one that always pops up, and always pops up in the top 2 or 3.
In any era. Anytime you go back and look at NASCAR history, if it's 100 years from now, you're going to have to say Earnhardt was one of the best drivers that ever came through here. If you'd put all these drivers out there when they had their very best day and when they was in top shape and everything was perfect for them, they'd all be running side by side. That's the way I look at it.
He's just one step under the king, so only difference is Richard's won so many more races than anyone else has.
Richard Petty's record, I guess, is in jeopardy of the championship wins right now, and who would ever think that anybody could win that many championships?
Yeah, you'd have to put Dale in that category with Petty and, like you say, with Fireball and some of the older guys. But this could be a tough record to try to beat one day when he decides to step aside.
I think his is like more like the evolution of what someone used to be as a race car driver to what they are now, and he's certainly come, I think, full circle in where he started and where he is now.
We'll be back with more Dale Earnhardt, an inside look at a legend, in just a moment.
As your engine revs higher, the oil inside creates a hydrodynamic wedge, a protective layer that builds up and keeps engine parts separated. But as your oil's viscosity breaks down, so can the wedge. That's why Castrol GTX provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. Because if your viscosity breaks down, what's next? Castrol GTX, engineered for greater protection against breakdown. Try Super Clean, the Tough Task Cleaner Degreaser from Castrol.
There's only one beer with pure refreshment written all over it. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft and MGD Light. Why so many people are getting out of the old and into the cold.
The best feuds never die. They just get uglier when colleges collide. ESPN2 presents great college rivalries, unadulterated inter-academic aggression dedicated to the most wicked grudge matches in college sports. College rivalries. Forgive, but never forget. Only on ESPN2.
That 18 would be big, if possibly it can be done. And I think the depth and Dale's health, like he and I talked last year, the biggest thing he's got to do now at his age and the point of his career, the thing he has to do is take care of his health.
Didn't set a goal to win 7. I set a goal to win races, to drive a race car, to win races, to win a championship. The next one's 8. Yeah, you've got to look. Yeah. As competitive as I am, yeah, you're going to be looking at 8. Yeah, I'm not saying we're going to win 8 championships. I'm saying we're going to be working awful hard to try to win that 8th championship. We're going to go out there and try to win the Daytona 500 first, though.
The championships aside, there are more Earnhardts on the horizon as daughter Kelly and sons Dale Jr. and Kerry look to follow in Dad's footsteps. In fact, in 1974, Dad was Rookie of the Year at Hickory Speedway. Now, 20 years later, Kerry has earned that honor.
I think they're doing great. They're in kindergarten right now. And they're learning, just like I learned. They're going to a few classes now, and they pay their dues. And they've done it. I tell you, I'm proud of my kids. And I hope when I do slow down or retire or quit driving, is to be able to be involved in their lives more and more, and be a part of their career. Hopefully they'll go places too. I wish the best for them, but so I can be a part of it.
With all those Earnhardts, could there be a future as a car owner for Dale?
Who knows? Boy, I tell you, it's too early in the game to say what's going to happen there. Where I'm going is several more years, I hope, with Childress. Several more years. Several more. Well, is there something out there I should do? Is there change jobs? I don't think so.
We'll be right back with more on Dale Earnhardt.
It's been a big weaving night for us. But Ken Norton Jr. came by, and he convinced me to shut down and watch the games. And by the way, Ken's got some nice hair.
Watch Sunday night when the Rams play the 49ers.
Yeah, he's got some nice hair.
It's been an amazing 15 years in Winston Cup racing, going for the ride with Dale Earnhardt. Through the wins, the championships, those electrifying moments on the racetrack. But one thing remains certain: the potential for more championships, more wins. For Dale Earnhardt has never limited his goals. He just continues to strive to be the best.
He's got something magic, I'll tell you that. Earnhardt's special, and I've never seen anybody like Earnhardt.
Seeing the look in his eyes before that race is the part probably that I'll remember the longest. Is he has that look every week.
When he straps himself in that race car, it's probably worth an extra 30, 40 horsepower just putting Dale in the car.
20, 30, 40 years from now, when they look back and say, who was the best that's ever been, I think it's going to be Dale Earnhardt.
Being around Earnhardt is like going to college. I mean, you constantly learn from him.
He's tough, but I believe he's fair, and that's very important in racing.
I don't think you can say enough about Dale Earnhardt. You know, it's just, he's the best, in my opinion, that's ever been, and maybe ever will be.
Anytime I've ever remembered doing anything, whether it be racing a bicycle or go-kart, getting to school, getting to the next class, or getting home, I wanted to be there first. You know, it's the competitive side of me. I want to be the best. I can't wait till Sunday. Practice bores me, testing bores me. Racing, boy, let me get in there and go.